You'll notice that there is going to be snowfall farther north as well as we get into the mid-south and also across parts of the Midwest as well. A chilly air mass and a snowy time here for this Monday. And it's not just snow, we're also tracking ice as well. A significant ice threat for some here from the south into parts of the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. And for some of these areas, they're not used to driving in ice. Let's face it, driving in ice is just a very tough thing. We have some tips on what you need to do if you find yourself in that situation.
Freezing rain is one of winter weather's biggest threats, and driving through it can be both frightening and dangerous for everyone. It's the combination of elements like snow and rain that make for a serious threat for drivers. According to AAA, bad weather and sloppy road conditions are a factor in nearly 500,000 crashes and over 2,000 road deaths a year, so it's important to take some crucial steps to ensure you're safe. First thing is try to make sure your car is fully inspected. Having someone check to make sure your tires have adequate tread and are properly inflated are crucial for winter driving. But it's also important to check and see if your brakes are in good shape, as well as making sure that inside of your car the defrosters are working properly. When it comes to actually driving, just know this is not the time to speed, so take it slow. Allow yourself plenty of space from the car in front of you. A good rule is about 10 seconds, and when it comes to braking, brake gently to avoid skidding and avoid driving beside other vehicles when possible. Be smooth with your steering and avoid using cruise control to keep as much control over your car as possible. Don't take any road for granted, especially in frigid temperatures, but especially take care on bridges and overpasses, which are susceptible to ice even in temperatures slightly above freezing. If possible, your best option is always to avoid traveling during these conditions. For more safety and preparedness tips and tools, visit AccuWeather.com/ready.
And hopefully that can help you out a bit because some areas are looking at significant ice. We are covering for the threat of over 1/4 of an inch to some areas possibly picking up over 1/2 of an inch of ice. So we're talking about widespread power outages in that situation, down trees, power lines, and roads become undrivable.
The country is right now going through a major snowstorm and ice conditions, but this happened once before. My sister-in-law lives in Portland, and she lived in the neighborhood that this news clip was taken. And it goes to show that there are times where you need to have chains on your car. Let's play it.
Heads up!
Some people during the winter, they change their tires to winter tires. It's a really good way to have better traction on the road. Remember, all cars, braking, acceleration, steering, begin and end with the grip of the tire on the road. If that grip on the road is reduced or eliminated, you could have the best traction control system designed on a vehicle and it's not going to work. You got to have the tires grip the road properly. This is a video demonstrating about winter tires and why they work better than regular tires.
Winter tires are designed with rubber compounds that create more grip at lower temperatures than summer tires. The tread pattern on winter tires is designed to allow small angled blocks of tread to dig into ice or snow in order to increase the amount of grip. Thin cuts, called sipes, are built into the tread pattern. When the wheel begins to move from a stop, the sipes allow the tread block to flex, which create gripping edges that make better contact with the slippery surface. Winter tires are ideal for icy and snowy conditions because they offer the driver more control while accelerating, turning, and stopping. When the tire makes contact with the road, the rubber in the tire fits into the shape of the road surface. The rubber compounds used to make winter tires allow the tire to flex more, even when temperatures drop below 7 degrees Celsius. Whereas the summer tire becomes more rigid and less able to shape itself to the road surface, the winter tire remains pliable. This ability to fit into the road surface ensures a greater amount of contact with the road, and therefore better grip and traction. When temperatures increase, the winter tire's rubber become too soft and will wear much more rapidly than when used in winter conditions.
All right, so the instructions I kind of disagree with. They want you to drape this over the tire and then roll the tire over the top of it. I've never done it that way. You could try it that way. My way is to always line these up, turn the tires all the way to a locked position, and your goal is to be hooking the chain up right in this position right here. So I'm going to tuck this all the way up. So the first rollers are against the tread. And we're going to line that up, and then we're going to roll this tire over the chains instead of draping it like the instructions. But here's the thing. These tabs right here are what you hook onto on the other end. We need to make sure these tabs are facing down. So that way when you bring this up, the flat side is facing the tire, not the tab side. So we want these tabs facing down, so when we roll this tire on, it's in the right position. We could do both sides at the same time. So this one we need to roll pretty much about 3/4 of the way, but the other side, we don't need to roll as far. We only need to roll it 1/4 of the way. So again, I'm going to get this into position. Tab's going to be face down. And I'm going to put this right up against here. Line it up. And I only have to roll this 1/4 of a way, so that way we're hooking the chain up on this side. And so Mr. Lear, who's videotaping, is going to tell me when I've rolled it far enough.
That's good. That should be just far enough forward to get this side on. We can drape it over the top and it'll be easy to make the connections over here.
So now, bring this up and over. Right here. And notice that the tabs are facing out now because I draped it over. And you want to pull it as tight as you can. And then we're going to bring this up. But I recommend doing the inside one first because the inside one's the hardest one to get as tight as you can. So to get it where we could, you don't want this extra cable just loose, so they give you these little extra tabs up here, but I couldn't get it in because this side was too tight. So I backed off this side 1 notch, and that gave me the ability to pull this a little more on this side. One more actually. There we go. By loosening this side, I was able to pull it on this side enough so I could lock in this outer cable, the excess cable, into this holder here. And by doing that, now this cable's not going to fly around and damage my fender. Now I got to do the inside cable, lock that extra piece up,
So you have to adjust this cable so it works on both the inside and the outside. Okay, so this one's installed. Now we got to roll it forward to do the other side. So I'm not quite aligned with the chain, so I'm just going to move the tire a little bit to the right. And now let's roll it forward. And Mr. Lear is going to tell me when to stop. But we're going to roll it more closer to the front. More?
Right there is perfect.
All right. Now let's install this side. And we're going to roll it up and over this side. Now remember that the instructions always tell you just to drape it over the tire and then roll the tire onto the cables. And I don't recommend that. I recommend lining the cable up in front of the tire and then drive the car onto it. And I'm not going to go as tight this time because I learned from the other side you have to have enough cable to latch onto this tab here so you don't have an extra cable flapping around and damaging your fender. All right, so now I get this, and all you're doing is you're pulling this down to this little round circle. Pull the little locking tab or the little knob here through that circle, and then it locks, and it looks like I'm pretty good here. Let's do the other side. I could probably go one more notch on this side now. There we go. Bring this little locking tab up. And there we go. That's not bad for a Southern California person who never drives in the snow, except when I go snow skiing. All right, now to make this tight, they make these tensioners that go on the side. I would never drive chains or cables without these tensioners. And I hook one up to the 12 o'clock position right here. And then you just go around in a circle hooking these up. And this keeps your chain from contacting your fender as well. And there we go. Okay, you can adjust it a little bit if it doesn't look like it's in the center. So I'm going to move this one over a little here, and now it's starting to get more in the center. And that's going to keep that chain away from damaging your fender. That's the whole thing you're worried about. You don't want these chains coming off when you're driving. You know, you never want to really go over 30 miles an hour with these. So it's only when you need chains or cables is when you put them on. But when you put them on, they're a lifesaver because it keeps you from skidding when you hit your brakes, and they keep you from spinning when you hit your acceleration. This is a front-wheel drive car, so the front wheels drive the car and steer the car, and 70% of your braking's in the front. So I would put them here. When it's a rear-wheel drive car, you almost need 2 sets of cables because your rear wheels are driving the car. So that's for acceleration, but your front wheels provide 70% of the braking and your steering. So safety-wise, I would put them on the front. Acceleration-wise, there's videos of cars they just can't get up the hill. Then you almost need 2 sets of chains, one for the front, one for the rear, if it's a rear-wheel drive car. If it's an all-wheel drive car, you almost don't even need chains or cables. You just drive the car. If you get in a problem where it's spinning, you have no control, pull over, put the cables on.